finished doing some recording as we speak, and I thought I would hop on really quick and check in with you all and see how you're doing. It's been an interesting couple of days because I was not feeling well as of Friday on Valentine's Day, which really sucked, but I digress. I'm feeling better now, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. So, but I hope you guys are enjoying hopefully a 3 day weekend. I'm not sure if you're getting a 3 day weekend, but um, I just wanted to check in and talk about goal setting and do a goal setting live with you all, since that's what I did the last time when I was on here before. So, last week I talked about setting goals and intentions for the week, and this week I'm talking about how to stay consistent with your goals, even when things happen. I know, yay to 3 day weekend. What's up, D? Listen, I mean, the lighting's not good, but I need my computer right here. But I'm going to just go ahead and go through how to be consistent with your goals. Let me see if I can like raise this up a little bit. I'm doing my best here. I guess the crazies don't want to be out, which I'm totally fine with. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just late to the game. All right, welcome everyone. What's one goal you struggled with last week? Put it in the chat. For me, I never made it to CrossFit. I don't even have to put it in the chat. I can just tell you, I never made it. However, I will have to make it this week. I have to. I have to. I have to. Hi, Rosa. It's still early. Oh, I'm speaking too soon, D. Hi, Rosa. Thanks for joining. What's a goal that you struggled with last week? Please share in the chat. So, for me, a challenge I struggled with also was that I got sick on Friday, and so it derailed the challenge. But I digress. I'm not going to be discouraged by that because I still worked on my paper yesterday, and I didn't focus on the movement part. I really just needed to focus on like just get your life together type of thing. And so I guess that's the point, is that life is going to happen, but you still got to be consistent. Um, okay, thank you. But you still have to be consistent with your goals. And so even though Friday I shut things down, I didn't drive to work, I didn't do anything but recline on the couch, read my Kindle, and watch TV. That was it. And I ate food. That was it. Nothing more, nothing less. So, I see it, D. I see it. It's that 60/30. It's that 66 or 67 and 33%. You see it show up in my chat every freaking time, right? So, yeah. So we're going to keep this moving along. So, one of why is consistency so hard? The biggest reasons why we struggle to stay consistent is lack of clarity. Oh my gosh, yeah, lack of clarity, overwhelm, burnout, perfectionism, and procrastination. Here's the thing, I'm very clear that I want to go to CrossFit, but the struggle is the time. And I've expressed this like 1,000 times. Like, the issue is there's not a time that works well for me for when they are offering the classes, but I digress. I'm going to stay focused. And there's going to be some big changes in my life happening this coming week that I feel like I'm not going to have as many issues trying to make it to CrossFit. So that's just some things that I'm getting more clarity about. For me, sometimes like when I'm not able to accomplish something, it has more to do with like there's sometimes something not forcing me to get it done. I don't know if you can relate to that, D. Even though we got all these people in the chat, I'm just talking to you and probably one other person in here. I think it was Rosa. I think y'all are like the only two that are probably here for the actual conversation. As far as feeling overwhelmed and burnout, I'm not overwhelmed about going to the gym. Um, it's not so much feeling overwhelmed or burnt out, it's a scheduling issue. But part of one of my other major goals is just making sure that I'm actually getting some proper rest. And because I need the sleep and I'm not falling asleep until 1 o'clock in the morning, it's harder to just be like, I'm going to get up and then try to be someplace at 8:30 in the morning. It just doesn't happen. So, oh my gosh. Exactly. I feel you, D. What is going on? I don't feel like it's perfectionism or procrastination on my end, and more or less to do with like a scheduling thing. But I honestly feel like that's going to change. Get the minutes out with you, okay? Thank you, D. I appreciate it. D and the four other people that are actually here to hear about me talking about how to stay consistent with your goals. If you're new to my channel, I'm Diona Reese Williams, and I am doing a series about goal setting and why it's important. I post those videos on Wednesdays, and then I also share some behind the scenes of like day in the life and that kind of content on Sundays, and how I'm honestly balancing it all out. Um, Anyways, so focus on progress over perfection. It again, the main thing is that I think if I would not have gotten sick on Friday, my ultimate goal was like, oh, I could make it to the gym on Saturday because one of my favorite coaches is there. And then that obviously didn't happen. It didn't happen because I wasn't feeling well. So I just had to stay focused. All right. So the four-step system to staying consistent. Step one, set small, clear goals. Break down big goals into small daily actions. An example would be for me is write my dissertation or write for 45 minutes every single morning. Those are ways that I stay focused on what I need to do. And or it's a matter of like I'm going to focus on writing for 45 minutes before I go to bed or something like that. D, thank you. So I would say I did break this goal down with CrossFit last week. I was like, you know what, Deanna, like if you're not able to make it until, if you're only able to make it once a week, then that's good. Instead of having the goal of like, instead of having this goal of like, oh my gosh, I need to make it a CrossFit like 4 or 5 days out of the week. Realistically, I'm not making it any days. So I need to break it down and just say, I'm going to make it just one day. So, how to build a routine and habit stacking. This is probably good for me. So, I am going to be stacking a habit. So, attach your goal to an existing habit, like right after coffee, like do your writing right after coffee, exercise before showering. So, my habit stacking that I will end up doing this week. Boy, I cannot talk straight. Is I have to give, I know how silly this is going to sound, but our oldest dog needs heart medication every day between 7 and 7:30. And so once I get up to give her her medication, that's habit 1. So the other habit I'm going to stack behind it is I'm going to go to CrossFit. That's what's going to happen. And I'm super confident that will happen because I have to be the one that gets up and provides her this medication. My better half is not going to be home. He normally had the morning shift when it came to like her medication stuff. And let's be real, he was giving her her medication at night as well. But I'm going to be taking over the morning shift, and then he will be handling the night shift when it comes to her medication stuff. And I know, as silly as that sounds, I need to just stack the habit in that way. So, blocking time and scheduling strategies. So, my schedule is going to adjust, which means I'm going to get up sooner, start my day sooner, and be able to go to CrossFit at 8:30, come back home before 10, and basically eat breakfast, shower, and start my day probably by like noon or so. And because I'm putting more things on the front end of the day, that means at night I will probably do less work when it comes to like my work as a professor. I'll basically do those things on the front end of on the front end of the day. So that's going to be the focus point, which means I will more than likely go to bed much sooner because I know that I need to be up by like 7. So that's huge. Tracking my progress and staying accountable. Here's the deal. There are these things like habit trackers. I can use Notion as a method or checklist. I have tried checklist. I have tried habit stackers. I've never really tried Notion, and I know the reason being is because I'm not going to track in that way. I know I'm not. But yes, I totally am gonna get it together. But see, to be fair to myself, the sleep routine honestly changed in 2020. And the reason why I say that is because we went from getting up every day, going to work. This was, I always tell people like pre 2020, I was making that commute, that 4 hour commute, I was making it 4 or 5 days out of the week. Actually, at one point, it was 6 days out of the week. I digress. I'm not even going to get into that. But it was intense. I had to make sure a 10-year-old was getting up, getting to school, and my life was just so different at that point. And then when 2020 happened, it just derailed everything. Every day felt like a repeated Saturday. Like it felt like Groundhog's Day. Thank you, D. Thank you, D. But it felt like Groundhog's Day because it was like I had never experienced anything like that in my life. I mean, none of us had experienced anything like it, but it was really challenging to kind of figure out this routine of like we're all home and I'm teaching my students remotely, college students, but then I'm also like having to be a teacher to my great niece at the time, which I'm a trained teacher, so I can do it. But it was just like, as far as our home life routine, it was really, really hard to find a balance. And so I had tested out all these different trackers. Um, oh my gosh, all these different trackers. And I found that none of them work. The only system that has worked for me is just regular old paper, pen, write it down, put it on a calendar, and I track it from here. But when I try to implement other systems that are created, they just don't work for me. I'm better off creating a system that working within the systems that I already use. And so that's how I feel like I will hold myself accountable is I write it on here, 45 minutes of PsyD, 20 to 90 minutes of movement. And that's enough for me to be like, okay, I need to get this done. Um, yeah. So I don't know about you guys, but create another system. Like Tyler is saying, like create a new system. Um, if you could share in the chat some goals that you have, what are some ways that you hold yourself accountable? What are your approaches in holding yourself accountable? I would love to hear that in the chat. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to do so. Hi to everyone that joined in. Thank you for coming on my live. We're talking about goal setting. This is week 2. We're talking about being consistent. How do you stay focused? Okay. More financial stability. I miss what you're using for your system. Oh, so I just use a calendar. And the type of calendar that I like is where it's enough space for me to write it in, And so I literally write on the calendar how many minutes I'm going to spend doing that particular habit. And then I just do simple checks and X's, and that's it. It's very, very simple. Okay, so Dee says she's doing a to do list. And not that like these different habit trackers out there are not great, they just didn't work for me for the last 5 months. Oh, that's awesome. Kellen, congratulations. I bought one of those, what motivated you to do it every day? So I write in this calendar, I write everything out all in 1 week. So what motivates me is that I have the goals. Like this is something that I want to do. And so that's what keeps me motivated. I like the way that I feel after doing CrossFit. I like the fact that I can deadlift almost 250 plus pounds. Or heck, the coaches tell me I could probably deadlift 300, but I haven't tried that yet. I like the way that I feel. I enjoy the group exercise. To me, it's like what in whatever goal that you set, it has to be a goal that you actually want to achieve and that you want to focus on. Yeah, don't play with me. That's why I'm like, some of these folks in the chat that like say all this crazy stuff, I'm like, guys, I'm not the one. And if that's just me, we're not even talking about my husband. He's like on a whole nother story. That's a lot of lift. It is. I have Google Calendar going for work that notifies me, and it doesn't let me play on my phone until I finish that thing that I need to do. Yes, I do need to say I do have Google Calendar. And so, this is the other thing. I use Google Calendar to track the scheduled items, but I don't care for the task list stuff. It just doesn't, I think it aligns with like the habit tracker things. I already keep track of my task in a very organized way. So Kellen, I totally get it. Google Calendar is great, but I find for me that I have to take what's in the Google Calendar and write it down somewhere, or else it doesn't like really commit to my brain. I agree. I have to let things get the best of me. I agree. Okay. But I have been changing things for a few years now. Awesome. Um, awesome. So thank you, Kellen and Dee and Tyler for your comments. I really appreciate it. So those are just some ways that I try to keep myself accountable. On a side note, nice job weightlifting. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm like, don't get me wrong. And it's funny, people ask me when I did track in high school, they're like, did you do like shot put? I was like, no, I was actually a runner. I've done long distance and short distance, and I played soccer. I do like endurance, but as I've gotten older, I really appreciate some lifting. I enjoy lifting so much. I don't know, it's fun. And then step four, that Step four, adjust and stay flexible. Expect setbacks, reframe them as a learning moment. So for me, a big setback was like, I got sick. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a 45-day challenge. But it's just like I would say to my students, like, here's the deal. We're going to be in class for 16 weeks and life is going to life. And so when that happens, you notify me, let me know, like, hey, I got this going on, and then you get back on track. Like the same advice I would tell other people is the same advice I'd apply to myself. I took the day, I rested, I did nothing all day, nothing. And then I like eased into Saturday, and I was like, all right, I'm only going to be able to focus on writing. I'm not going to be doing the movement part. And then today it's like, okay, I'm probably only going to do the writing, or better yet, I'm just going to like get back on the saddle tomorrow and keep it moving. It's really just that simple in my mind. Um, oh, so you like soccer too? I actually played in a women's league where I lived until I fractured my wrist and then remembered that I was an adult and I need my hands to work. That's the only reason why I don't play soccer anymore, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it when I did. Oh my gosh, I'm just reading the comments. All right. So, lastly, adjust your goals instead of like quitting altogether. I'm not going to quit my challenge. I'm just going to stay focused. There's no point of stopping. I'm already like over 25 days into the challenge. I just got to stay focused and do what I need to do and make sure that I've got everything done um, in terms of my goals. So, if you could drop one goal that you're struggling with in the comments, and your challenge this week is to commit to one small action for the next 7 days towards your goal. And I'm just reading in the chat to see if anybody is sharing anything of substance besides me giving shout outs or asking me to speak in other languages. I can only speak English, guys. So, um, actually, we have someone else that can speak French. So I'm like, thank you, Dee. I knew you were going to do it. Another question is, how do you stay consistent when life gets busy? What if you miss a day and how do you bounce back? You're having trouble committing. Ooh, this is a good one. Can you help me with a goal to get on the travel basketball team because I'm having trouble committing? Okay, Kellen. So, why do you feel like you're having a hard time committing? Is it what part of the commitment? Is it like making it to practice? Is it raising money to travel? Is it because you have to let go of another commitment? Tell me more in the chat. And then hopefully I can give some guidance. Dee, feel free to chime in if you want to as well. Even though I know you're like in deep conversation in French, which I can only imagine the conversation. You're saying bye, so I don't know what that means. Well, I'm assuming you're saying bye or hello. But Kellen, tell me, like, what do you feel like you need to like relinquish another goal or like another activity that you're doing? No, I don't play games. I just set goals. I'm in New England and it's cold outside, but that's the only place I can practice. Oh, okay. So I would say I feel like I'm almost confident somewhere on YouTube. I feel like there's people that talk about basketball and strategies and ways that they are able to do this indoors in order to practice. I could be completely wrong, but I feel like there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. I don't live in a cold climate. I live in a much more warmer climate, but I know quite a few of my friends have children that are on travel teams. So, but they find ways. I mean, these kids find ways to practice, whether they have access to like a basketball hoop or a gym or whatever, like they find a way. Sometimes it's like they're just going to practice, I don't know, on their front porch or in their backyard. Like they just find a way to do it. So Dee says, my goal this week is to write chapter 3 and also continue editing. Awesome. For me, my goal this week is the same goal I had last week. I'm making it to CrossFit. Actually, I should say habit stacking. My goal this week is to habit stack the fact that I have to give little dog her medicine at 7, between 7 and 7:30, which means the habit stacking is I will quickly get ready and then drive over to CrossFit and be there by like 8:25. I'm pretty sure that that's how that's going to look. I'm almost confident. And I know that there's going to be a night where I'm not going to sleep well, which is probably going to be tomorrow night. I won't sleep well, but I'm still going to have to get up and um, and give her her medicine. I just can't go back to sleep. I'm also writing continuation of a book named Coyote Sunrise. Oh, awesome. So you're a writer, D is a writer. I write children's books, and D writes a combination. Well, let me take that back. D, she writes, I'm going to say novels, and she writes scripts. I write children's books and I do academic writing. So a combination. But that's awesome, Kellen. Thank you so much for like hanging out in the chat. And despite like all the distraction that goes on in my chat boxes every single time I go live. So I hope it's still been really helpful for you. Yes, D is a really good writer. D, tell us first off, Kellen, let me just give a shout out to D. If you have not followed her channel, you need to check out her channel. She drops a lot of gems about screenwriting. And she also has a series called Dear Future Husband. But this is my thing. Even if you're not looking for a partner in your life, her screenwriting skills, her writing skills, it shows up in this series. So I just feel like it's kind of giving us like an insight of when she puts her movie out this year. It just will give you an idea of like what to kind of expect because she's just an amazing writer. And she also does like creative writing challenges as well, which I need to work on my creative writing challenge. So, but Dee's channel is amazing. And her daughter also just put out a channel if you're into makeup. It's Lake Lashur. So Dee Lashur and Lake Lashur, you should check out their channels. Thank you, Kellen. Thank you. I'm so sorry that we have so many trolls that show up in my chat. Um, definitely take a moment to check out our channel. But let me go ahead and begin to close out this live. So let me recap some key points. Oh my gosh. Being consistency is about small daily wins and not perfection. So we're not trying to strive to be perfect. We are just trying to win appreciate the small wins that we have. And I encourage you guys to drop in the comments what's one way you'll stay consistent this week. And then check in with me next week. I'll be asking you how you did for sure. All right. Bye, Kaylin. Kellen, I'll definitely be live next week for sure. So just follow the channel and you'll see. Set your reminders and then just look out for more content coming from me. And I hope you guys have a great week. If you can maybe consider trying a template or something on Notion. I'll see if there's something I can create and share with you guys. Yes, make your list tonight, D, for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. I'll be writing out everything for what I have this coming week, either tonight or tomorrow morning, and that's what I got going. So, thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time. D, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to just like use this extra minute and 5 seconds so I can make it, pardon, a full 30 minutes. That's going to be my goal so I can get like a full 30 minutes. And then, I'm going to hit you up on Instagram and let you know what the results are from the live. I don't know. You know what? I should have figured out how to have you. I know I could have had you as a moderator, but I don't know how I could have done it. Girl, every minute does count. Oh, okay. I'm looking to see like how I could have done this. Oh, all right. I'm learning. I am learning. Wait a minute. I turned off something and I didn't mean to. Message display. No, I don't want to do that. I don't know what I did. Oh, okay. This is good to know. Hey, I've made it. So at the end of the day, thank you all for joining this live. And just to circle back one more time to remind you guys what tonight's topic was about, how to stay consistent with your goals. Next week, I will be talking about overcoming setbacks and staying on track with your goals. So come back next week, and thank you all for watching. Have a good night. Oh, that's what I did. I turned it on and turned it off. Girl, I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to have you be the moderator, but we didn't get that far. So, all right, I'm done talking. The trolls are trolling and I gotta go. Bye, you guys.